Our White Sox have just been chugging along with this season, and we are now at the most vital part of the schedule here in Season 1, the trade deadline. It is time to gut this roster. So let's just hop straight into it here. Joe Kelly was the first man out of here. He was sent to the San Francisco Giants, along with a minor league infielder, Laz Rivera, who was a player we did not really use at all. I had no future plans for this guy. He's a deep potential, just on here to get ourselves a different deep potential guy, essentially. And coming to the White Sox organization from the San Francisco organization is going to be catcher Adrian Sugaste and utility man Brett Auerbach from their organization. Kelly is a solid veteran reliever that good teams just always want. He is signed through next season as well, so he's not just a pure rental. And relievers are currently the Giants' number one need. They are currently the top wildcard spot in a pretty tight race too, so they could definitely use a veteran bullpen arm to help them get to the playoffs if they so wish to get there. Sugaste is a 20-year-old C-potential catcher. He has solid bat-to-ball skills at the moment. Doesn't make a ton of hard contact, though. Terrible plate discipline, strong arm. Not really the greatest right now as a catcher, but he still has a lot of developing to do. I'm not really too worried about his defensive ratings, though, because it's MLB The Show. While on the other hand, Brett Auerbach can play all over the field, including catcher, deep potential, but he is only 24 years old. He has some really good speed, great defense, decent enough contact. He's somebody who could possibly be looked at as a utility man for us here in the next couple of seasons. And let's just move things along here to the next trade. Tim Anderson was sent to the Baltimore Orioles in return for right-handed starter Carter Baumler, outfielder Judd Fabian, and third baseman Max Wagner. Tim Anderson is signed through next season as well. Great contact hitter, still has a decent speed to his game. He's not going to block anybody on Baltimore's roster from getting onto their major league team. He is just going to help this current roster win, essentially. And like I said, it's not the end of the world if the Orioles do not push and make the playoffs this season, because next year their team will be even better, and Tim Anderson will be there for that as well. But they could definitely use a infielder right now, though, as Ramon Urias is currently hurt for them, as well as Adam Frazier has not been the greatest for them, so Tim Anderson is going to help their team this season. As far as the guys coming to our organization, Judd Fabian is a 22-year-old outfielder from the University of Florida. He's a C-potential guy, decent contact to his game, pretty raw offensively. Aside from that, not much power or discipline or stuff like that, but that's all stuff that we are going to be trying to develop for him. Really solid defensively, though. Decent speed to his game. He's an interesting player. Max Wagner is a 21-year-old third baseman from Clemson. See potential. Needs to develop a lot more, but that's basically what we want. Is we wanted to make sure we went out and got guys who are not currently on 40-mans. Don't have a lot of they're not their service clock hasn't started. Guys that we can develop for 2-3 seasons, and then once we're ready to start competing, ideally these guys are really starting ready to come up to the big leagues here. And then the third man coming over is the right-handed starter of Carter Baumler. He's a 21-year-old C-potential. I like his per 9 ratings. Home run per 9 is a little bit shaky, but like I said, all these things will develop as time goes on. Moving on to the next trade, Liam Hendriks has been shipped out of Chicago. He is going to the Los Angeles Angels in return for catcher Edgar Caro, right-handed pitcher Caden Dana, and outfielder Deshaun Knowles. Hendriks, as we know, is a fantastic closer. Angels are just going to be going all in for it because it's their last year with Ohtani. It makes sense for them to really take a huge swing here at the deadline. Not even really that trading for Kendrick is a huge swing, but it would make sense that they would be a team who could use him. And then, of course, this is MLB The Show, and they have Trout on their roster, so they're going to be good next year anyways. So even if Ohtani leaves, Hendriks is there with Trout next year as well, and they'll probably still be a solid team. Edgar Caro is a 20-year-old catcher. He is a top 100 prospect in real life, top 4-ish, I want to say, on the Angels list, according to MLB.com, at least according to what it was before the break when I actually made these trades. I'm thinking I might bump him to a B potential in-game because he's a top 100 guy. I don't know, I'll have to think about that a little bit more, but it is something I've thought about. But even with the C potential, he is still a really solid prospect, especially now that MLB The Show has made it to where C is definitely a lot more valuable than what it used to be, where just like everybody was a C. Now everybody's a D. But essentially the hope for Caro is that he could possibly be our catcher of the future someday. Caden Dana, 19-year-old right-handed starter, C potential guy, not much else to talk about there. Deshaun Knowles, 22-year-old outfielder, C potential. He played for Team Great Britain in the World Baseball Classic this season. He's a solid contact hitter, has good vision to go with it, some speed to his game, can play a decent defense, switch hitter. He is an interesting player to have in our system. Now we move things on to some pitcher trades here. Mike Clevenger has been sent back to the San Diego Padres in return for shortstop Yendry Rojas. Padres were interested in Clevenger. He was one of the top interested teams listed for them, and San Diego needs starters just to get through the rest of the season, even because Blake Snell and Yu Darvish both have long-term injuries. So why not have a reunion with former Padre and now current Padre Mike Clevenger? Rojas is an 18-year-old shortstop. Maybe he sticks at shortstop, maybe he doesn't. Just kind of basically taking a swing on a guy who we don't really know what he's going to be. He's 18, maybe he develops for a few seasons, maybe he rakes in the minor leagues and spikes a bunch, and he's all of a sudden this like solid prospect for us. Who knows? Anything can happen with one of these 18-year-old shortstop type guys. And like I said, maybe he doesn't stick at short. Maybe move into the outfield at some point. Maybe he's a third baseman. Maybe he's a second baseman. Who knows? That's the whole point of trading for a guy like this. They have the athletic base. Who knows what they could be? And then we also traded Lance Lynn to the St. Louis Cardinals, or should I say back to the St. Louis Cardinals, because this is his second stint with that organization, in return for left-handed pitcher Pete Hansen and shortstop Jeremy Rivas. St. Louis was interested in starting pitching, and Lynn, of course, is a reunion for them, so they could use a starter for next year's team as well, once like Wainwright retires, and if they don't bring back Flaherty, and I think Jordan Montgomery is an expiring deal too. They have some holes opening in their rotation next season, and Lynn is signed through next year as well. He's also just not bad. He's been really solid this year. Has a sub-4 ERA in 21 games started. They'll definitely take that as a team that is competing in this game, not in real life where they are going to be tanking. Or not tanking, but selling. As much as selling as the Cardinals looks like. As far as the guys who come over to our team, Pete Hansen, 22-year-old left-handed starter from the University of Texas, C potential guy. Jeremy Rivas is a 20-year-old shortstop, really solid defense, good speed to his game. Not a lot going for his offensive game, but he's a guy who just kind of we wanted to get in our system as maybe somebody who could play shortstop for us here in a couple seasons in a pinch or something, or maybe he's just minor league filler, who knows. But I thought that maybe his back could develop enough to where maybe he could be somebody decent. And he's just kind of a throw on the deal. Hansen's the main guy who's coming over, and Rivas only a D potential as well. And then the final trade we made here at the deadline was Reynaldo Lopez to the Philadelphia Phillies in return for shortstop Jesus Starlin Caba. The Phillies, they always need relievers. It's one of their top needs here on their listed trade block. So we are giving them a reliever who's pretty solid in Reynaldo Lopez. And in return, we get another guy just like Rojas, just sort of a young shortstop, maybe something else, has a decent base to start off at, and who knows what he could be after developing for a few years in our system. So since Lopez was the last trade we did, that means we have opted not to trade Kendall Graveman yet. He is going to be the closer for our team the rest of the season, and then we are either going to trade him in the offseason, or he's going to be our closer next year, and then at the deadline we could possibly get something for him. And then taking a quick look around the league at some of the more interesting trades that happened. Remember, I don't really care what the AI does anymore. I used to stress so much over what the AI did. I tried all the 30-team control. I mean, there used to be a way where you could literally see the trades as they were coming through and just deny them. But of course, they got rid of that because, Diamond Dynasty rules. Now there's like a billion more hoops to jump through if you want to monitor, trades and whatnot. So I just don't even really care. If the AI makes a stupid trade, the AI makes a stupid trade. With that being said, here are the trades that happened around the league. The Red Sox, for a second year in a row, have bought and sold at the same time. They trade away a good reliever in John Schreiber for a couple prospects, and then they pick up a good reliever in Scott Barlow for Brian Mata, who I thought was a decent starter, but who knows? The Yankees add Tom Murphy from the Seattle Mariners to their catching tandem. The Guardians took a pretty big swing as they traded in division Daniel Espino to the Royals in return for MJ Melendez, and then AJ Minter coming over from Atlanta, and also the I forget how you say this guy's first name. Not going to look it up right now, but Noel, outfielder, power hitting guy, and then Gabriel Arias, the shortstop, go to Atlanta. Well, the Royals also did not just pick up prospects from a couple different teams, they also picked up Ronnie Mauricio from the Mets, who I know is one of their top prospect guys, for Edward Olivares. That trade pretty questionable, but like I said, not going to stress over the AI doing dumb trades. The Reds sent TJ Friedel to the Houston Astros in return for Drew Gilbert, an outfielder from the University of Tennessee, and Forrest Whitley. And then the Angels also added a big bopper bat to their lineup in CJ Cron. So taking a look at what our team looks like here post-trade deadline, in the rotation, a couple new guys in there. Davis Martin is back from AAA Charlotte. He's back in the rotation. And then Jonathan Stever is a right-handed starter, just a warm body for us, essentially. He's been in AAA all season long. He's gotten a couple cups of coffee with the White Sox in the past. He's back up here. He's a Midwest guy through and through, grew up in Wisconsin, went to Indiana. And then in the bullpen, we've added a lefty and Tanner Banks called up from the minor leagues. And then Graveman is now the closer. Gregory Santos is the setup man. And then Alex Colomé and Keenan Middleton are the other relievers who have come back up to the big leagues here. As far as the lineup goes, the changes against right-handed pitching, Ildemaro Vargas is now the shortstop against righties. Nate Mondow is the utility man who has come up from AAA because he was absolutely raking for us. He's going to get a shot at second base against righties. And then against left-handed pitching, it's Eric Gonzalez at shortstop, and then Victor Reyes in right field. So we are now into mid-August here on the season, a couple series into our post-trade deadline look here, and of course, the new look Sox are winning. They've actually won 2 series against Cleveland and the New York Yankees, and now they are on the verge of winning against the Milwaukee Brewers here. It's a rubber match in Game 3. The Chicago White Sox are here at home, playing host to the Milwaukee Brewers in a Midwest battle. It's going to be the Brewers and the White Sox here in a rubber match, Game 3 set at Guaranteed Rate Field. Michael Kopech on the hill for the White Sox, making his 24th start of the season, and he'll be opposed by this Brewers lineup listed 1-2-9, and on the hill for them, the chucker is the left-hander Eric Lauer, making his 22nd start of the season. Take a look at the White Sox lineup listed 1-2-9. We'll start things off. Bottom half of the first inning, 2 outs. Luis Robert Jr. is going to go out to center field. That's going to be a 2-out base knock, so he's on first base. And then it's going to bring up Eloy Jimenez, who proceeds to also have himself a little base knock. This one's out to right field, so back-to-back base knocks for the Sox. With 2 outs, brings up Jake Berger with 2 on, and he does what he always does when runners are on base. He drives it a long way, but it's going to die out right before the track, as nothing goes for the Sox. Move things on, bottom 2 here. Victor Reyes, ground ball. Bryce Terang, beautiful diving play by the Brewers' second baseman, ends the second inning. Move things on, top half of the third as Tyrone Taylor drives the ball to left field. Benintendi ranging back, runs into the wall, almost does an Aaron Rowan impression as he makes the outs. And then later on in the inning, Kopech strikes out Garrett Mitchell. He was rolling in this game. We move things on, bottom 3 now. It's going to be Sebi Zavala. How do you do? Absolute monster shot into the seats in left field. A no-doubt solo home run puts the Sox on top. It's now a 1-0 lead. Move things on later in the inning. It's Eric Gonzalez. He's going to muscle one out to right center field. That's going to bloop in front, and it's going to be a base knock. So he's on first, brings up Luis Robert Jr. Gonzalez runner going. Beautiful hit and run. Chops it right where the second baseman was. Gonzalez goes first to third. Then Robert's going to go and swipe second base with 1 out and a Eloy Jimenez at the dish. Now there's 2 runners in scoring position here for Jimenez, and he would proceed to drive them in as he's done all season long. Rips it up against the wall. That's going to be a 2-run double. It's now a 3-0 lead for the White Sox. And then Benintendi comes up and he drives the ball. Some lefty-on-lefty crime into the seats. A 2-run blast for the White Sox left fielder. It's now a 5-0 lead here for Chicago. Move things on, bottom 4 here, Victor Reyes. He has been a man on fire since getting the call from Charlotte as he proceeds to pick up a double here, and he's going to end up on third base as the throw gets away from the cutoff man, and he's now 90 feet away from scoring. Bryce Wilson then comes on out of the bullpen as Eric Lauer's day will end, and with 2 outs, the White Sox could not drive in Reyes, as it's going to be they do drive in Reyes as the throw gets away from Vaughn, run comes in there, but then nothing else goes on in the inning. So we move things on, top 5 here. That was the first hit of the entire day for this Brew Crew team, as Rowdy Tellez rips one into left field, but then Urias grounds into a 5-4-3 double play. Move things on, top 6 now, Michael Kopech getting Mitchell to go down swinging. Bottom 6 here, Victor Reyes back at the dish. He's going to ground one over to Terang. Another diving stop, but he's not able to secure it cleanly. Reyes beats it out, and then he proceeds to go and swipe second base, wreaking more havoc on the base paths. So he's in scoring position. That's going to bring up Zavala, who rips one into left field, or center field, rather, left center. As it drives in Reyes, it's now a 7-0 lead as the White Sox just pile it on here, but then Gonzalez grounds into a 4-6-3 double play. Look at that behind-the-back little toss there from Terang. Beautiful play by him again, but unfortunately, Seby Zavala is going to have to come out of the game as he was hurt sliding into second, and Xavier Fernandez now comes on to catch the rest of the way out, and Kopech just goes right back to what he was doing with Zavala. Strikes out the last man of the inning in Contreras. Top 8 here. How about a 5-4-3 action? Ends the inning, and another scoreless frame for Kopech. Move things on, bot 8. Victor Reyes going to slap one out to left field, lands in for a bloop shot. He's on first base with 2 outs there. Pickoff move gets away from Rowdy Tellez, and Victor Reyes continues to wreak havoc on the base paths. Unfortunately, they could not drive him in, but we just had to show that because Reyes has been phenomenal since coming up from AAA. And here, Michael Kopech's no-hit bid comes to an end as Tyrone Taylor delivers a monster shot into left center field. That's a 2-run blast. Shutout bid over, but that would be your final, as then Aaron Bummer came in, ended the game, and the White Sox do beat the Milwaukee Brewers here and take the series 2-1, the game by a score of 7-2 here at Guaranteed Rate Field. Michael Kopech does get player of the game honors. He goes 8 innings, only gives up 3 hits, 6 Ks in the day, 1 walk, and only 2 earned runs, both in the 9th inning. Reyes and Jimenez both had 3-hit days. Zavala and Benintendi each had a home run. Really solid day for this White Sox offense. And unfortunately, Seby Zavala is actually going to be out for 1 to 2 months with a torn hamstring, so that's unfortunate. He should be back a little bit later on in the season, but for now, Carlos Perez is going to be coming out from AAA because his fractured hand is healed, and now our catching tandem in the big leagues is Carlos Perez and Xavier Fernandez. How about some road tripping here for our Sox as they're going to head out to Rocky Mountain Way to take on the Colorado Rockies in Denver, I should say, as the White Sox here at Coors Field. Toeing the slab for the Rockies on the day is the former Red Sox farmhand in Connor Siebold, making his 16th start of the season here. Take a look at the White Sox lineup listed 1-9, and then the opposing starter here for the White Sox is Davis Martin, making his 9th start here in the big league since coming up from AAA Charlotte. So bottom of the first inning here, 2 outs quickly from Martin, but then it's going to be a 2-out knock for Brendan Rodgers as he proceeds to go up the middle, continues his good season. Chris Bryant then powers a ball to left center field. This one's going to get over the head of Robert, and that's going to score Rodgers all the way from first base. It's now a 1-0 lead as they strike first. And then Ryan McMahon drives a ball to deep left center field, same part of the ballpark. Robert ranging back. This one hangs up enough for him to make the catch, as it's still 1-0. Top 3 now, Yoan Moncada is hitting a line drive, hanging curveball off the fence in right center. That's going to be a 2-out double for the White Sox infielder there. And then Luis Robert unfortunately takes a high fastball and just pops it up the right field. Nothing going. Move things on bottom 5 here. Elias Diaz going to go down the right field line into the corner, and the catcher has himself a leadoff double there for his team. So he's in scoring position. Brings up Trejo as he proceeds to go down swinging, or he spits on ball 4, I should say, as he takes his base. So it's first and second here, and then another walk, this time to Taglia. Bases are drunk, nobody out for the Rockies. Brings up Tovar, line drive, Mondow makes the catch. That's one down. Then it brings up Daza, chopper to first base, throw to second by Vaughn. Vargas spins over to first. Martin's there for, and somehow gets out of the bases loaded jam with nobody out. And then Yoan Moncada comes up in the top of the 6th and just powers a ball into the left field seats. A solo shot way out of here. It's now a tie ball game here as we take that into the top of the 9th. And Luis Robert Jr. is plunked by Tyler Kinley. He would then proceed to go and swipe second base. He's now into scoring position with Eloy Jimenez at the dish. But unfortunately, Luis Robert Jr. was hurt on that play, reaching for his Achilles. He will have to come out of the game. So it's going to be Victor Reyes coming on to pinch run at second base with Eloy Jimenez at the dish. 3-1 count, line drive, but right at the left fielder. And that's going to be one down, runner on second still. Gavin Sheets pops one up to deepish right center field. Reyes is going to tag and test Daza's arm as he is going to be able to get in there. So he's 90 feet away from scoring, brings up Andrew Vaughn, and he would proceed to go down swinging. So the game remains 1-1 here. We now move things on to the bottom half of the 9th inning, where Kendall Graveman comes on for the 35th time this season. And with nobody out, leading off the inning, it's Ryan McMahon grounding one out to shortstop. Eric Gonzalez, beautiful play, gets up to his feet and throws out the runner. Then it brings up Elias Diaz, chopper over to third. Yoan Moncada, jump throw from the outfield grass. How about some defense from the left side of the infield here from the Chicago White Sox? Move things on top 10 now. Brent Suter, the lefty with the funky windup, comes on here for the Rockies, and a ground ball from Mondow is going to move the runner up to third base. Then it brings up Vargas, who spits on ball 4. Now it's first and second. Clint Frazier comes on to pinch hit here for the White Sox with runners on the corners, and he would proceed to rip one into right field. That's going to score 1. It's now a 2-1 ball game here as the White Sox take the lead. Benintendi then tried to get some more in, but instead he's just going to ground into a almost double play, but he beats the back end, so runners are on the corners once again, here with 2 outs, and then Yoan Moncada just pops one up to deep right field, nothing else going. So move things on bottom 10, Alex Colomé coming on out of the bullpen here for Chicago, his 7th appearance of the season. Runner on second base, obviously with the zombie runner, and then a single from Tovar to lead off the inning. Runners are now on the corners. Then Colomé can't find the strike zone. Bases are drunk here for the Rockies here with nobody out. Jorge Alfaro, ground ball right into Vaughn. They go home with it. Back to first. That's a double play. Colomé gets quick 2 outs there, and then it brings up Rogers. He checks his swing on a full count, and he proceeds to draw a walk. So bases are drunk once again here, and then Chris Bryant somehow cannot pull the trigger, and Alex Colomé tiptoes out of danger, gets the save. It's now a 2-1 win here for this Chicago White Sox team. Yoan Moncada picks up a player of the game honors. He had a 3-hit game with a home run and 2 doubles on the day. Alex Colomé picks up his first save of the season in a crazy way in extra innings. Clint Frazier had the pinch hit go-ahead RBI single in the 10th, and then unfortunately, Luis Robert Jr. is not going to be playing the rest of the season as he tore his Achilles tendon sliding into second base on that stolen base. So that means that Adam Hazley is going to be the one coming up from AAA Charlotte to take his place on the roster. And before we move on to the next game here, the White Sox actually went out and placed a waiver claim on Michael Rucker, a relief pitcher from the Chicago Cubs. He has some decent ratings. He's got some team control left to him, so the White Sox go ahead and claim him. He ends up getting, the waiver claim does go through, so Alex Colomé is then DFA'd to make room on the roster, and Michael Rucker takes his place in the bullpen. And we are now here into late August on the season, as this new-look Sox roster continues to ruin any hope of improving the draft pick here, as Eloy Jimenez has been absolutely en fuego as of recently. He's 4th in the American League in hits overall. He has the best walk percentage on the entire team, and he's striking out less than 20% of time as well. Quite impressive here from the DH. The White Sox hit the road once again. This time they're going to be heading out to Camden Yards to take on the Orioles, in Baltimore. It's going to be the 65-65 Orioles taking on the 59-72 White Sox. Toeing the slab for the Sox is the right-hander Sean Burke, back in the state that he pitched in college in for the University of Maryland. Take a look at the Orioles lineup listed 1-2-9, as well as the starter on the day for the Orioles is Tyler Wells, making his 27th start. Take a look at the White Sox lineup listed 1-2-9. We'll start things off top half of the first inning. Victor Reyes laying down a surprise bunt, and Adley Rutschman, Yogi, throws out the runner somehow on the beautiful bunt there from Reyes. So then it's one down as Moncada chops one back up the middle. That's going to be a single, and then Eloy Jimenez continues to tear the cover off the ball here in this stretch they've been on. A 2-run blast here in the first inning gives the White Sox a 2-run lead. As we move things on, bottom 1, and Adley Rutschman is going to power a ball towards Baltimore. This one's going to roll up against that wall. It's an easy 2-out double there for Rutschman. Then it brings up Santander. Ball gets in the dirt, blocked by Perez. Throw over to third as Rutschman thinks he can move up, but he cannot. He is eliminated by Perez. Move things on, top 3. Spitting on ball 4 is Perez at the dish. He'll take his base. Brings up Reyes, once again laying down a bunt, this time a little bit farther down the line, and Adley Rutschman once again, just insane spin, throw out. Reyes works as a sack. Now runner on third with 2 outs. Vaughn rips one in the left field and makes it a 3-0 lead here for the White Sox. Move things on, bottom 3 now as Austin Hayes muscles an up and in pitch there and just takes it at the left center field. Hazley Fields gets it into the cutoff man, but it is a leadoff double for Hayes. And with 1 out, it brings up Westberg. He pokes one into right field. That's going to score Hayes, and the Orioles get on the board. It's now a 3-2-1 ball game. Top 4 here. Clint Frazier grounding one over to shortstop. Jorge Mateo, the jump throw from the outfield grass, gets the runner at first. Then later in the inning, it's Adam Hazley with a loud shot to right field, but this one's caught by Santander right at the wall. Move things up, bottom 6 now. Sean Burke giving up a base knock here to Adam Frazier as he pokes one over the leaping glove of Moncada. He's on first base, brings up Rutschman. He's also going to have himself a base knock, so back-to-back singles here for the Orioles. Nobody out still in the inning, brings up Santander, and he rips one off the wall in right field that ricochets right to Reyes. Only 1 run is going to come in. It's now a 3-2 ball game. But then Cedric Mullins hits one to deep center field. That's going to tag up the runner from third base. Move things on to the bottom of the 8th, where Gregory Santos comes on for the 61st time this season for Chicago. And with 1 out, it would be Adam Frazier spitting on ball 4, so he'll take his base. Runner on first now, brings up Adley Rutschman. He's going to rip one that just barely lands fair, gets into the corner. Reyes manages to keep the runner at third base, so it's runners on second and third here with 1 out. Then an intentional walk for Santander loads the bases, and Gregory Santos works that sinker and gets a 6-4-3 double play to end the inning and keep it at a 3-3 ball game. Top 9 now, Eloy Jimenez continues to hit there. A leadoff single for the Sox DH gets him on first base. Then it brings up Gavin Sheets, who unfortunately grounds one out, but it does move up Jimenez as it was a tough play, eliminated the double play opportunity, and then Adam Hazley chops one up the middle. Jimenez rounding third, heading home. He is going to score. Adam Hazley plays hero here, drives in the go-ahead run to make it a 4-3 game. Kendall Graveman then on for the 9th, looking for the save. 2 down, quick outs, but then Mateo grounds one past the diving glove of Sheets, who is playing no doubles defense, and of course, gives up a single. Then it's Jordan Westburn, bloops one into center field. Mateo gonna hold up at second base despite his fleet feet. So 2 down, 2 on brings up Tim Anderson, the former White Sox, and he's going to pop one up into shallow center field. And check this out. Andrew Vaughn, second baseman, getting out, making the play, closes the glove on it, and that would be the final out of the game. 4-3 is your final in this one. The White Sox come out on top here over the Orioles. Eloy Jimenez picks up player of the game honors. He goes 2 for 4 on the day with a home run and a single. Adley Rutschman had 2 doubles for the Orioles. Kendall Graven picks up his 21st save of the season. Very tight game, but the Sox managed to squeak by as the O's drop below 500. And with that being said, that's going to wrap things up here for this edition of the Chicago White Sox franchise here on MLB The Show 23. I've been your host, Jerseyborn, and I'm saying, how about my man Paul Craig, the pride and joy of Scotland?